Well, good afternoon. Welcome to Kelowna Now Live, your news headlines for the evening. And to start, students at Okanagan Mission School, Secondary School, had a bit of a startle today as a photography student who was out taking pictures this morning spotted a concerning surprise on the school grounds.
A cougar.
Mm-hmm.
Cougar is walking around on that property, and he got a great photo of it.
Look at that one
right there, right?
That's a healthy looking cougar.
And it was shared to social media. It was given to the police, and they shared it on social media. And Constable Mike Della Paloroa from the Kelowna RCMP. There you go. Principal Vince Hunter and Vice Principal Graham Johnson conducted a walk of the school's perimeter and investigated the area of the sighting. Cougars don't usually stick around as soon as they see people.
Yeah.
While they did that, they called BC Conservation, and they're taking guidance from the conservation officer. I remember calling the conservation officer about a bear in my yard. And he said, "Is a bear there right now?" I'm like, "Nope." And he's like, "Well, call me when it's there." I guess they do that a lot. Anyway, the school is urging all students to travel in groups as a precautionary measure.
Yeah, anybody in that neighborhood maybe want to keep an eye out.
I mean, there is cougars in the area for sure, right?
Yeah.
And they come down as the snow level comes, you know what I mean?
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Other news, 38 three-bedroom units on Black Mountain. Moving forward as part of a project.
We talked about that earlier today. That's that project at 1702 Linrick Road. So there you go. So it was moved forward, and there you go. We talked about it earlier today.
A 2-year-old pit bull terrier mix has a new lease on life after being found seriously injured and laying at the side of a remote BC highway.
Yes, according to the BC SPCA, Honey's desperate cries at the side of Highway 16 near Fort St. James caught the attention of a traveler. The Good Samaritan, thinking it was a wild animal injured in a remote part of northern BC, pulled over, investigated the cries, and discovered Honey. They rushed Honey to the vet hospital where it was discovered she had a dislocated shoulder and severe nerve damage in her right leg that had ended up requiring amputation surgery. Infected wounds on her face, neck, torso were cleaned and treated. Her shoulder joint was put back into place, and the young dog was given some pain medication. Scheduled for surgery, put in a splint for 2 weeks while staying on a strict kennel rest. She is available for adoption on February 14th.
Wow. The road's definitely not great, and as a result of a multi-vehicle crash
That we talked about earlier.
It was Monday night, was fatal. The chain reaction crash involving 3 transport trucks happened shortly before 6 p.m. around 10 kilometers south of the Great Bear Snowshed on Monday. And so the family's now has a GoFundMe up. And
so it was a semi that was rear-ended by a second commercial vehicle. And then the third transport truck slammed into the rear of the other 2 transport trucks after being unable to stop. And it was the driver of the third transport truck that was fatally injured in the crash. Yeah. And there's a GoFundMe on with a link on Kelowna Now. You can go to KelownaNow.com. So far, they've raised over $5,000 for the mourning family. So go to KelownaNow.com if you want to help, and there's a link there to the GoFundMe.
And in other news, 188 local BC governments will receive a share of $51 million in housing-related grants.
Yeah, so with the introduction of those 3 housing-related bills, they're starting to distribute that money to 188 local governments to meet that new legislative requirements. So they passed that legislation aimed at creating more housing in BC, like more small-scale multi-unit housing and financing helps for developments and associated infrastructure and transit-oriented developments. So that money is actually just to update some of the bylaws and housing needs reports and stuff like that. So $51 million won't go very far, actually, when you're talking about 188 communities.
Yeah, right.
So the grant fund is managed by the Union of BC Municipalities, launched in 2021. Applications now being accepted and recipients should be announced this spring. But I guess if they're giving...
Is that like $1,000?
No, like, more than that. But
I know, but I'm just like, what's it work out to?
About $500,000.
Yeah,
but, I mean, it'll be based on population sizes and stuff like that, I'm sure.
Looks like a story worth looking into. And Zumper's first rental report of 2024 is out, and Kelowna is reported as having the 7th highest apartment rents in Canada.
Yeah, but it held steady, though. I guess that's the good news. but that doesn't mean it dropped. It just held steady. The average cost of a one-bedroom rental apartment in Kelowna dropped $10 from 1950 to 1940. And it was overtaken by two cities with rising costs. So Kelowna dropped down a couple spots. Halifax jumped 3.1% to $2,000 a month to hop into fifth place, previously held by Kelowna, and Ottawa leapfrog Kelowna as well by increasing by 1.6 to $1,950. There you go. So Kelowna's in seventh spot. Top list remains Vancouver at $2,700, Toronto at $2,500, Burnaby at $2,490, Victoria at $2,020. That's a lot for Kelowna's one spot lower on the list in eighth. Right?
And think about this: an average 2-bedroom rental apartment in Kelowna costs $2,270,
which is a 5% drop from earlier.
It is still a fair bit of money. And then if you think about a family of 4 and the escalating costs,
that's crazy.
Yeah. A BC village says it needs dedicated $12,000 charger so that its $97,000 EV can last the whole day.
Who would have thought that?
Why is it a $12,000 charger though?
Well, because they're trying to charge a Ford Lightning, which has a large battery, with a 110 volt.
Right. Yes, of course.
And you know
that.
I know you're trying to charge your car. It takes a week to charge it.
I don't know if it was a $12,000 up.
It's not. I don't understand. Like, again, Tesla sells chargers for $750. Just saying. Right? Tesla sells chargers on their website, like level 2 chargers, for $750 plus the cost of installation. So the $12,000
is all installation.
May warrant a review. Anyway,
may warrant a review.
Just saying. Right. The vehicle is $97,000 and $40 It was made through a funding grant at Columbia Basin's Trust Charge-Up program, of which they got $66,530. So and BC local government climate action plan for $30,516. Not sure if they planned it well when they said, like, how are you going to charge that thing?
For 10% more, you can actually drive it. Okay.
Well, hey. They could have called us, and we might have been able to help. They could have said, hey, how are you charging that thing? So it's their second vehicle, though, because the 2023 Ford Lightning was their second electric vehicle. In 2022, they purchased a low-speed vehicle for use by Public Works that has a maximum speed of 40 kilometers an hour. Is that a golf cart?
Yeah,
sounds like it.
Maybe a Gator or something like that.
Was it your car?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, we jest.
Yeah. A driver was injured after their car plunged from a multi-story parking lot at UBC.
So the driver had to be rescued when the car plunged through a concrete wall in a multi-story parking lot in the University of BC. The fire rescue guy says 10 emergency vehicles responded. 10 emergency vehicles responded to the call to a campus at 9:30 a.m. Wednesday. A large piece of the concrete beam was on top of the vehicle, complicating the rescue that took place amid falling snow. I told you, like when Vancouver, like when it snows,
like
chaos erupts, right? And I'm sure this one is a weird one. That's probably a lot of people showed up just to take a look at what's going on.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like somebody went through what? The driver was injured, but he can't the fire rescue says they can't comment further on the conditions. Heavy rescue and technical rescue teams were involved in the operation to free the driver, whose vehicle fell to the ground from the second story. So not that big of a fall. Anyway.
Well, you know, most Canadians who have experienced warmer weather this holiday season believe it was due to climate change, but most were also at least partly happy about it.
There you go. According to the new research, another one of these polls from Ledger, more than 4 in 5 people believe that the mild temperatures was good because it meant less shoveling. More than 2/3 of the respondents.
Well, we're shoveling now.
Said they liked it because they're not much of a winter person to begin with. There you go. The poll comes after communities across Canada experienced one of the warmest Decembers on record due to a strong El Nino. Remember those two?
Mm-hmm.
El Nino and what's the other one?
El Nino?
No, it's something else. I can't remember now.
Yeah.
Oh, well. That poll was 1,500 Canadians. And that's not a lot of people, you'd think. But 66% of the respondents said they didn't enjoy having a milder Christmas. Another 38 cents they didn't like it because it prevented them from enjoying winter activities
Like skiing.
Yeah. So there you go. You go ahead and
Mixed response.
You can go on Kelowna now and you can read that poll and see if you agree with any of that stuff that's in there.
Well, and we definitely have late onset winter happening right now outside.
Seems to have stopped snowing, though.
Yeah, and the heavy snowfall warning, I think, is sort of aside now for the rest of the day. Things may clear up a little bit overnight. Tomorrow when you get up, there may be some fresh white stuff. There may not, but we will see some holes in the clouds hopefully tomorrow. But that'll be just a short reprieve and expect more snow flurries tomorrow night.
One thing to watch out for as it starts to warm up is like if it starts to melt and then freeze underneath and we get a little dusting of snow, that's that really, really slick conditions, right? So
yeah, and that is probably more likely to happen towards the weekend, but
and if you drove your car in this morning, check your wipers because they're likely iced up, and try to clear that ice off your wipers before you go, because when you start to use them, because of that, you get a little bit of ice melt or come off the hood there, you're going to turn on your wipers and they're not going to wipe anything. So just take an extra couple seconds and clear your wiper blades.
All right.
Until tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.
Have a great night. Be safe. Stay warm.